Section 8.7 is continuing with finding trigonometric values, and in this first example we are going to use our trig table of values to find the answers. So if you pull out your table so it's sitting next to you, our first one we're looking for is cosine of 74 degrees. So if we go down to angle 74, we find 74 on our table. Our angle is 74 degrees, and then we can go across and look in the cosine column at 74. We find that it matches at 0.276 is our value for cosine 74. Same thing for tangent of 72. You're going to find the 72 degrees in the angle column, and then go over to tangent. We find tangent is 3.078. Okay, and then 60, we find angle 60 degrees, go over to the sine column, and we get 0.866. So you really just need to be careful that you're looking in the right column, either sine, cosine, or tangent, and practice using the table will help you get those ones right. The next one says find the value of angle A if we know that the sine of A equals 0.946. So we are going to do a similar thing. We're going to look in our sine column this time. We know that the sine is 0.946. So if we go down till we find sine 0.946, we see that it matches angle 71. So that must mean that angle A is 71 degrees. Okay, so same thing for cosine of A is 0.292. We look in our cosine column and find 0.292. So here we go, 0.292. I see lines up right with 73 degrees. And our last one says that the tangent of A is 7/5. So now the first thing we need to do is convert that to a decimal. And when we do that, we get 1.4. And then we are going to find 1.4 in our tangent column. So if we look in our tangent column, I see 1.428. That looks like the closest to 1.4. So actually we have 55 degrees is tangent. We got 1.428. And then 54 degrees, the tangent column, we see 1.376. So I want to see which one is closest to 1.4. This one is 0.024 away from 1.4, and this one is 0.028 away from 1.4. So since this one is actually closest to 1.4, 54 degrees is going to be my angle. Okay? And if you need help practice reading that table, raise your hand and I'll come show you how to read the table. Okay, our next example asks which trig ratio, sine, cosine, or tangent would you associate with angle A? So if angle A is right here, I see that I have my hypotenuse, and this side is opposite A, so this is my opposite side. If I have the hypotenuse and opposite, I would use sine because my sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So my answer here, sine. Okay, here, angle A, we have our opposite and our adjacent. I know with opposite and adjacent, that is tangent. So in this case, I would use tangent. And you can look back at your ratios from 8.6. If you don't remember what sine, cosine, and tangent are equal to, you will find that tangent is opposite over adjacent and sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Our last two examples here say to use either sine, cosine, or tangent to find the measure of angle A. So A is right here. I know that I have my hypotenuse is 10, it's my longest side, and 7 is the adjacent side. So I know that the sine of A is going to equal, sorry, not the sine. If I have hypotenuse and adjacent, adjacent over hypotenuse is going to be cosine. So when I have my adjacent 7 divided by my hypotenuse, that's going to give me 0.7. So if I look in my table, if I know that the cosine is 0.7, I'm going to look and see what degree is closest to 0.7. So I see that 46 degrees, my cosine value is 0.695, and let's see, 45 degrees, my cosine value is 0.707. This one is only 0.005 away. This one is 0.007 away. So that means this one is closest. So my angle A is going to be 46 degrees. Okay, 7. My A is right here. I have my opposite over my adjacent. When I have the opposite and adjacent sides, I am going to use tangent because the tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. But in this case, it is 5/8. When I type that in my calculator, 5/8, I get 0.625. So again, I'm going to look for this number in my tangent column, 0.625. And I see exactly 0.625 at 32 degrees. So that means that A is going to be 32 degrees. Now there's one other way you could answer these problems without using the table. If you use what is called the inverse function, cosine inverse, on your calculator, you'll see it with that little -1 up top. If we write our value here, 0.7, and type this into our calculator, this is going to give us the same thing. We'll still get 46 degrees approximately, and this is how you're going to type it into your calculator. So same thing over here. If we have our value and we want to know what the degrees are, we need to use our inverse tangent function and put in 0.625 and that is going to give us 32 degrees on our calculator as well.